Sometimes silence can seem so loud, but it's very necessary. We're going to get into it today. Today, I'm going to tell you my story and I'm going to tell you the benefits of solitude. Hello, 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 and welcome. You are listening to and watching the Manifest on Purpose show. I am your host, Kimbaley. I am here to help you elevate your consciousness. I am here to open your awareness to things that can make you even better than you already are in life. Thank you so much for being here. While you're here, do me a favor, please like this video if it resonates with you. Share it with someone who may need to hear this. You know, sometimes we hear messages and they're not specifically for us, but we know somebody that's going through the same thing, and this video may can help them. So share that and also subscribe so that you can stay up to date on what's going on around here and keep up with it. Thank you so much for subscribing here and on the website at Kimbaley, KIMBALEY.com. And you know how I feel about you. The God in me loves the God in you and always will. That's what gives me drive. That's what gives me motivation to do what I do. Before we even get into today's story, let's hear our Astro-Numerology forecast for today. That forecast is brought to you by Astro-Numerologist LLoyd Strayhorn and the Star 8 mobile numerology app. It is Monday, September the 9th. The sun is in Virgo. The moon is in Scorpio. Moving into Sagittarius at 1:26 this afternoon, Eastern Standard Time. It's an 8 universal month, a 1 universal week, an 8 universal day. This is a powerhouse kind of a day. If your goals, objectives, and intentions are about making powerhouse moves, particularly in the world of business and finances. Therefore, anything in this regard needs to be questioned as the what, when, where, and the why of things. And in the course of the day, you'll likely find yourself maturing and reaching higher levels of living and learning in the process. For those born under the zodiac signs of Capricorn, Aquarius, Libra, and those born on the 8th, 17th, and 26th of any month, this should be a cakewalk to them. Once again, that is our Astro-Numerology forecast, courtesy of Astro-Numerologist LLoyd Strayhorn and the Star 8 Numerology app. Do you know that this forecast is available to you every day? Why haven't you gotten it yet? No worries, you can get it now. Go to a star 8, ASTAR, the number 8.com, Google Play, the App Store, and you can get it on Linktree/numbers and you, where you can also check out his other exclusive products and services, including his free monthly newsletter. That is the energy for all of us. But what if you need to know your personal cycle, what personal cycle you're in, so that you can see how to navigate this powerhouse type of a day? You need to get your Astro-Numerology forecast for the year, and we're coming up on a new year. So if you got it for last year, it's time for you to renew and get another one. Be fresh going into 2025. Also, if you need to know a little bit more about yourself, you can also order your personal report or get to know those people that are close to you. Get your compatibility report. But if you want to go deep into the weeds of who you are, you need to book a numerology consultation. You can book all of those things and more at Kimbaley.com. That is KIMBALEY.com. Let's get into the story for today. Perhaps you've noticed that we live in a noisy society today, but I have to say that that has not always been the case for me. As a child, I was very reserved and laid back. I was also most likely known to be by myself. I stayed back and forth between my mother and my grandmother. When I stayed with my mother, I shared the home with three other siblings. And when I stayed with my grandmother, it was just me, myself, and I. So you can imagine what things were like there. There was a lot of solitude for me. I was able to do a lot of thinking. I was able to do a lot of reading, which was my favorite thing. And most importantly, I was able to be myself. And I continued that on at my mother's house, even though my siblings were there. For the most part, I stayed in my room and I was always reading something. And in reading, even though most of the stuff that I was reading was fictional, I learned a lot of stuff reading and I did a lot of studying as well. In fact, I was so reserved into myself that a lot of people had some names for me during that time. Let me just step back just a little bit to say that the reason for me being reserved as I was because of the fact that number one, I'm naturally a reserved person. And number two, I had some problems with speech earlier in life. And so whenever I spoke, people would tease me about it. And that kind of hurt me a little. So I kind of stayed to myself and stopped speaking to a lot of people to avoid that. But anyway, that went on for some time. But because of that, of course, a lot of people labeled me as stuck up, bougie. I thought I was better than everybody. And that was not really the case. I was just being me and I was just happy being me in solitude. But as you know, when high school years came, all of that changed. Going from my junior high school to high school, I began to mingle with a group of girls. We became friends and we had our little clique or our little group that we were in. And we even had a name for that group and we had nicknames for ourselves. Now, because I never really was a part of groups like that, when they said we had to come up with a nickname for ourselves, I was totally clueless. Everybody had their nickname, but when they got to me, I didn't know what to tell them because, for number one, my name is Kimberly, and most people assume when they find out that your name is Kimberly that your automatic nickname is Kim. But I didn't want to be called Kim because that's what my family and everybody else called me. I wanted to be called something different. So when they got around to me to ask what my nickname was, I blurted the first thing that came out: Peaches. And I just simply chose Peaches because I loved peaches. When I look at the Chaldean numerology system, the word peaches adds to a number three. When we talk about a number three is a more expressive number. A number three is a more fiery number. So in this clique, Peaches was something else. Peaches was very fiery. This kind of took me outside of my comfort zone. Peaches was very expressive to the point of getting in trouble in school because every time the teachers told Peaches to do something, Peaches had something smart to say. Peaches did a lot of time in ISS, which is in school suspension. Peaches stayed in trouble all the time. And one of the most important things that happened during that time was Peach's grades began to drop. And of course, you would expect that. She wasn't listening to the teachers. She was running around being loud and expressive and fiery. She wasn't really paying attention to what she was studying at school. And the solitude and quiet time that she was so used to had gone away. Peaches did not have time to sit with herself. And this is what today's conversation is all about: solitude. A lot of people look at solitude and they think it's scary. A lot of people stay away from solitude because of what other people may say. As I look at it now, I can see that during that time that I joined the group, it was an expression of showing people that I don't think I'm better than everybody else. I'm not bougie and I'm not stuck up. But that took things to another level. And it was hard for me to reel back in once I had gotten to that point. So, what I'm saying is, even though solitude may be something that sounds foreign, it's something that is very much necessary in our lives. And I'll go back to examples of a biblical text in the Bible. When you look at the Bible or the Quran, they're always talking about meditation, they're always talking about prayer. Jesus talked about going up into the closet. And also think about how he was sent into the wilderness to be tested. So it lets us know that no matter whether you believe these stories or not, it kind of lets you know that somebody somewhere is stressing the importance of solitude. And you must ask yourself, why is solitude so important? This came to me as I was thinking about this conversation about solitude. The closer you get to you, the more you know about you. The more you know about you, the more you can influence your life. Now, let's talk about that. Birds of a feather flock together. Now, think about me being in that group. In that group, I was being influenced by other people. The reason why I was in a position to be influenced by others is because I had gotten out of that position of solitude. Because, see, when you're in solitude with yourself, you're thinking to yourself, you're reasoning with yourself, you're analyzing what's going on in your reality and what's going on in your environment in any given moment. However, what happens when you don't have that quiet time? When what you hear is the people that are around you, you will then begin to imitate, consciously or unconsciously, their actions and behaviors, because you have no reference point, because you're not going in yourself and asking the hard, difficult questions for yourself and making your own decisions. One of the benefits of solitude is being able to get to know yourself. The question of the day is, who are you? And not just who are you, why are you who you are? Because who you are today is shaped by past experiences. You need to know what past experience shaped your current reality, because there may be some things that you may not like about what's going on in your reality. But the only way you can change that is to know who you are. And when you don't know who you are, you leave the door open for someone to come in and tell you who you are. That leaves the door open for control. So it's important to know who you are, because there may be some things about you that a lot of people say, oh, that's weird. Why are you doing that? But it very well could be who you really are. And that goes back to those beginning stages when I was in that period of solitude. Although many people said many things about me while I was in solitude, I had to realize that that is naturally a part of who I am. And once I came up out of my peaches area, I was able to look back and see that's who I was all along. Now, another benefit of solitude is that you can make clear, rational decisions. So many people make hasty decisions, which leads to hasty mistakes. And the reason why is because they never take time to think about what they want to do. A lot of times people will say things that they really shouldn't have said, or things that they can't take back, because they never take the time to go within to think about what it is they're about to say, or what it is they're about to allude to, which can cause problems in your life. Whenever you're taking time out for solitude, you are able to make clear decisions because you've already weighed everything out in your head. You already know who you are, so you know what is best for you. You don't have to depend on what someone else would think is best for you. You would already know what's best for you. Another big benefit of solitude is focus. Here's what I didn't tell you about Peaches. Peaches ended up staying a year back in school because of the fact that she wasn't taking enough time to focus, because all that solitude stuff went out the window. She was so busy keeping up with the rest of the clique, and she was so busy being expressive and doing all of these things that she was doing at the time, that she did not focus on her own studies. And that studies made her stay back an extra year of school. So, in order for you to maintain focus in your life, if you're trying to manifest something and you want to be focused, you need to stay in solitude, and you need to be thinking about those things that you want to attract into your life. And you need to be creating a plan. Peaches didn't create a plan for finishing high school, and that's probably something she would have done if she would have kept up her routine of being in solitude and being to herself, going within. But that's one of the dangers that you face when you don't spend that time with yourself. And that goes to the next benefit. It stunts your growth. You cannot grow if you cannot be focused. You cannot be motivated on the things that you really need versus the things that you want if you're not focused. You can't even know what you want if you're not focused. So you need to make sure that you're taking time within your day to be with yourself, sit with yourself. There are so many benefits to solitude, but I'm just going to go over one more big important benefit that I think you gain when you are in solitude, and that is being a good listener. But what are you listening to? You're listening to, first of all, what's happening around you. You see it from a different angle, a different perspective. You're watching your life as it is going. This is being in the present moment. And not only that, you can hear the voice of your higher self. You can hear the guidance that you're getting internally, that still small voice, that whisper. You can hear your intention. And a lot of times when we go through things, spiritually, we're being told how to get through these things. We're being guided through these things, but we get so caught up in the noise and the distraction that we don't even hear the voice that is coming through to us. So that is one of the other benefits of being in solitude, being able to listen, being able to tune in with your intuition and to discover things about yourself that you have not discovered, or things around your environment that you need to be aware of. And this can also be looked at as discernment or situational awareness, being aware of what's around you and what's going on in your current environment, because you're taking out that time to listen to the cues that are being delivered to you. Now that we know the benefits of solitude, I'm going to get into some ways that you can start beginning your practice of solitude. First, let me just say everybody, every day needs to take space to be alone. They need to take space to sit with themselves. It can be as simple as a few moments in the morning before you start your daily routine. One way that can benefit you is when your alarm clock goes off. Try setting your alarm clock just a few minutes earlier, maybe 15 minutes earlier than usual. And for that extra 15 minutes when your alarm goes off, just lay there and think about what you want to happen for that day. Plan out your day. Have you ever noticed that whenever you wake up late, it throws your whole day off? So imagine what happens when you wake up early and you're able to plan for that day. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So that's important. That's one way that you can do it. You can go into meditation every day. I recommend twice a day if you love to meditate. That's a good way to go within yourself. And meditation is different for everybody. I remember first starting out on my meditation journey, what I thought was that I had to sit cross legged like a monk and meditate in that way. And it was just so difficult for me. But you have to find what way works best for you. And if you're not into meditation, try prayer. Some people lean more towards prayer. There is a method for prayer that one day I will cover that topic on this channel. But right now, I'm just saying that if you're not into meditation, then try prayer. A lot of people are good with prayer, and some people can actually stay in prayer for long periods of time, and that gives you that time to yourself. Also, you need to just plan time during the day. We take breaks at work. These most of the time are planned breaks at work. We go, we work hard, and the boss says, okay, you've worked so hard, we can't let you work over this amount of hours without taking a break. How is it so easy to do that when required, but not be able to do it for yourself? If your employee feels like you need a break or a vacation, don't you think that that is something that you should take for yourself? And I'm sorry, I'm stepping on the toes of all of those people that love to work, 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 and don't take vacation time. You need that vacation time mentally. There's a such thing as physical exhaustion, we know, but more importantly, there's mental exhaustion. And the reason why I say more importantly is because whatever happens in the mind happens in the body. If you're mentally exhausted, it's going to show up in your body. So make sure that you are taking mental breaks for yourself. You also have to set boundaries, and this will be something that I do a whole nother video on, because a lot of people still are having issues with setting boundaries or really understanding the importance of setting boundaries. But there are cutoff times that you have to use in your life to keep the noise out. And I know a lot of people are not going to want to hear this, but turn off the television, turn off the phone, turn off anything that's technology based that can be a distraction. Those are just a few ways that you can practice solitude in your life. And as I said earlier, this is something that should be done on a daily basis. And I suggest to even keep a journal, because the energy of today is so noisy. And I'm going to give you an example of that before I close out. Now I stay in a city, which growing up, I was in a rural area, and it was quiet to a degree there, very, very quiet. In the city, I noticed that it's very noisy at night. And what happens is you just adjust to the noise. But whenever I go back home to visit, I feel that sense of quiet and that sense of peace. And another way you can look at it is we talked about all of that technology. Even if you're in your home and you have none of these things going, and a storm comes and you have a power outage, it may have seemed quiet with the television off or without your cell phone, but when that power goes out, it seems extremely quiet. It gets even quieter. And the reason is because these distractions, this noise is energy. And this energy transfers. It transfers within people, it transfers through these material items we have. This energy is transferable. So it is important for you to go within and quiet the noise within yourself so that that noise does not become a distraction in your life. Solitude. These days, it's one of my best tools. I'm a reserved, laid back person, and I won't change that for the world. I don't care what anybody says. You must remember, though, there has to be balance in it. You have to know how to deal with what's going on around you, your environment, the people that come into your life. But at the same time, you have to know when to fall back and listen. And that's one of your important tools that you can use in your manifestation mindset toolbox. Being able to discern, first and foremost, when there's a time that you need silence in your life, and being able to discern how to use that silence to power up. For me, that's what it's like. Whenever I'm out and I'm around people, I feel the best joy. However, I know that at some point, I have to make sure that I recharge my energy. And I recharge during those moments of silence and that moment of solitude. Solitude, you can call it bougie, you can call it stuck up, you can call it anything you want to call it, but it's very necessary. Why don't you try it in your life? I love you to life. This is how you manifest on purpose.